Hello everyone, welcome again. Last time I've been talking about incoming update 7.0 and the new British light tanks branch that's going to be introduced in that update. And today I would like to bring some details about those tanks and some detailed information. So to get access to the light tanks, since day one they're gonna get introduced, we have to accumulate about 100,000 of experience on Comet on tier 7, and then from there you can get straight to the first light tank FV301. And about the light tank parameters, the HP is 1250, so it's quite enough for a light tank on tier 8, I think. View range 302 meters. As I said before, is a strong side of those lights, the British lights, because if you compare to the other tanks, for example, American T-49, the light tank on tier 8 has about 250 view range, so you have about 50-meter difference, quite a lot for WoT BLITZ maps. DPM 2943, it's quite impressive for especially for light tank. And on armor piercing, regular armor piercing ammo, we have penetration 226 and 190 of alpha damage. On APCR, the premium shells, the penetration is 258 and 160 of damage. And high explosives, the penetration is 42 millimeters and 250 of damage. What next? Reload time 3.87. That looks very impressive. So the gun looks pretty good. Let's keep going. The gun handling, the base aim time 1.72, which makes effective aiming time 2.9. This is really quick aiming time, and with all those parameters above, that makes it really good. An effective gun. Dispersion factors. Dispersion is 0.335. Pretty good for maybe slightly too big for such a small caliber, but it's not bad anyway. And dispersion penalties when moving is 0.12, 0.12. When rotating, 0.12 as well, and when rotating just turret is 0.08. So the penalty is quite slow here, so it looks still looks better and better. And penalty after shot is 4, which means with such a quick aiming time, short reload time, you're gonna reload and then be ready for a shot before the penalty comes off. Another strong part of this gun is depression and elevation. You get 20% of elevation and 10% of depression, so that means you may effectively, while fighting on the hills, on the uneven terrain. So that's another advantage point of this tank. Mobility. The weight of it is 29.39 ton, and speed about 70. The maximum speed is 70 km per hour, and average is about 50-55 km per hour. Backwards is 20 km per hour. Power and weight ratio 35.09, which is very good. All right, let's get to the armor model now. Armor profile looks seriously, of course we are talking about the light tank, so it's like a paper armor, almost nothing here. Let's get to the 3D view model. Are going to be slightly more effective. So for example, let's depress the gun maximum, and then if we make aiming like that. So for example, if you try to shoot from behind the obstacle, here the angle on the frontal armor, the frontal armor is 76 millimeters, but with this angle it makes about 205 millimeters. But it's still, don't forget, it's tier 8, so you are facing tier 8 and 9 tanks. So 200 millimeters is not too much. Turret looks even worse. 172 millimeter here. Of course, we have a gun mantlet that covers, probably the spaced armor here that covers some spot, but most of the turret is completely open. And it had 172 millimeters in front and 193 with the angles 194, 93 millimeters on the side. So maybe it may bounce a little bit with this angle, but I will not I will not count on it, and most of the tank is gonna penetrate without any problem. Of course, it's a light paper tank, so side armor looks even worse. Got 77 millimeters on the side of a turret and 51, 52 millimeters on the side of a tank. So it's a perfect target for every high explosive shells from the big guns. On the back, the same, 51 millimeters on the turret and 40 millimeters on the back of the hull. So seriously, there is no no point to rely on the armor. It may, according to the shape, with all those angles, it may bounce something, but I would not count on that. The next one is Vickers Cruiser on tier 9, and to get this tank we need 170,000 of experience. HP amount of this tank is 1600 points, quite effective, quite impressive, and the view range 313 meters, again very high. The firepower of this tank, DPM is still high, 2867, but this gun has a slightly different parameters than the previous one. The penetration is still quite high, 245 on armor piercing shells with damage 350. Also alpha damage is much higher than the previous one. On APCR, the penetration is 290 and alpha damage 300. And on high explosives, in 105 mm of penetration, quite impressive, and the damage, alpha damage, is 440 of HP. So if you combine that with 7.33 of reload speed, that makes it quite effective. As you can see, 3604 of DPM, even better than the previous one. So this one is still quite effective. Just you need a slightly different kind of gameplay. About the cannon handling, the base aim time, again 1.72, which makes effective aim time about 3.5 seconds, which is still quite good. Don't forget, we're still talking about the light tanks. Dispersion 0.317, so again is not fantastic, but good enough for a light tank, especially with that parameters of the gun. So dispersion penalties when moving the tank is 0.12, and same with when rotating, 0.12. When rotating turret is 0.1, and after the shot is 400. The gun angles, the same like the previous one. So all those tanks, they have a very good gun depression, is 10 degrees of gun depression, which is quite impressive, and elevation 20 degrees. Mobility, the weight 38.4 tons, and the speed is slightly slower than the previous one, but still quite fast. 65 maximum 65 km per hour maximum speed, backwards 20 km per hour, and the average speed is around 45-50 km per hour. So still quite fast. Now we should get back to the armor profile, same like the previous one. Still is a light tank, and this one is probably even worse than before. Look, it's completely paper. Again, if we manage to reduce like this, for example, because here there's nothing impressive. Look, if you face the enemy on the flat terrain, 150 of armor, frontal armor, that means nothing on tier 8 and 9. That it is absolutely nothing for anyone, so anyone can penetrate this gun easily. So basically, there is not much talking about the armor here, as you can see. 180 and 220 millimeters, still not impressive for tier 9, 8 and 9. Actually 9 and 10, because it's a tier 9 here. Side armor the same, 82 millimeters, 53 millimeters. So imagine, even if he face the other cruiser on the enemy line, on the enemy side, can be easily penetrated by high explosive shells. So it's like a high explosive sponge, basically. Same on the back. So basically it's like a paper tank. So do not rely on the armor, just stay hidden somewhere, and then play as a light tank, as a really secure of playing or gameplay of a light tank. And the last of those light tanks is Vickers Light 105 on tier 10, and to get this tank we need 275,000 of experience, and HP amount here is 1700, which is the lowest so far, because the Batchat and Sheridan we have in the game already, they have 1800, just 100 HP more than this one, so it's pretty much fair amount. The view range 325 meters, which is the highest view range in the game so far. And about the firepower, the DPM of this tank is 3239, is slightly higher than tier 9, and the gun here is pretty much similar. Like on regular shells we have 245 penetration with 350 of damage. On premium 290 penetration and 300 of damage, and on high explosives 105 millimeters of penetration and 440 of alpha damage, which the parameters are pretty much the same like the previous one, with the reload time slightly quicker, is 6.4. Is very good, actually. It's very good reload speed for tier 10, especially for light tank. The parameters are still quite good. The gun handling base aiming time is 1.54, which makes real aiming time 2.9, which is again very impressive. Dispersion 0.317, still good enough. And then the penalties, same like in the previous tank, 0.14 for moving and rotating the tank, and 0.08 for rotating the turret. Gun angles, the same again. 10 degrees of depression and 20 degrees of elevation. So the gun is pretty much the same like the previous one. The speed here is 65 km per hour forward and 23 km backward, so it's slightly faster than the previous one, than tier 9. The weight 32.2 ton is also pretty much the same. They're really all pretty much similar to each other. And about the armor profile, we get here and here, as you can see, pretty much the same. Here is slightly big, the frontal plate is slightly thicker, is 216 mm and 97 mm at the bottom one, but the turret again 162 and 180, even consider those angles. And when you try to set it as an angled one, 311, but the turret again 176, 200 mm, still nothing impressive. And the gun mantlet is so small, so it will not cover much. So basically, again, we have to use the distance and stay as far as and hidden from the enemy and do not get spotted. Right, that's it for those tanks. And what's the conclusion here? Basically, stay away of the enemy, use your view range, hit and run as fast as you can, don't get spotted. Right, that's a key point. And I really hope that those tanks will get to the game with all those parameters that we have from the testing server, because even the latest servers, latest tests are still on those parameters, so it's pretty much sure that we're gonna get them as they are now. And if we get them like this, seriously, they're gonna be one of the most op branches in the game. That's gonna be lots of fun, seriously. If you can collect enough experience on Comet to get them, probably it's about 2 to 3 weeks to the new update. It's gonna be in June somewhere. So I can highly recommend to get enough experience to get your hands straight from day one on those vehicles and just use them on the battlefield. Especially if you are a light tank player, this is definitely something for you. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you take this as that's going to be useful for you, that material. And I would like to thanks everyone for coming, and I hope you will come again for incoming materials, which that's going to be quite soon. Meanwhile, thank you everyone, and goodbye.